evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Bedford Township for November 21st, 2023. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, if Pastor Hines from Bedford Alliance Church could open us up in prayer.
Lord Jesus, we do want to thank you and praise you for the privilege of being able to call upon you to open this meeting. Thank you for the men and women that sit on this board and have given such great leadership to this township. Lord, I lift them up to you, and I pray that you give them wisdom and discernment. God, I would ask that you would help them to be unified. They come from different backgrounds, different desires, and different thoughts, but God, that you would just help them to be unified in what's best for this township. I pray that you give them great courage, again, wisdom, discernment, and God, that you would guide and direct each of the decisions they make. And we just thank you for them and lift them up to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay. Item number 2, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda is submitted.
Support.
Okay, motion supported by Mr. Gore. Discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek? Aye. Mr. Berger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 3, the consent agenda. The agenda committee recommends to approve and place on file minutes from the November 14th, 2023 regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. B, general savings, pool funds, and CD reports from the treasurer for October 2023. And C, the balance sheet and revenue expense report for the period ending October 31st, 2023.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted with one minor amendment. The minutes during my comment time stated I would be taking an honor flight in March and it will be April of next year.
Support as amended. Support as amended.
Okay. Motion is supported. Discussion?
Who supported?
Mr. Gore?
Okay.
Could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek? Aye. Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Berger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 4, Monroe County Sheriff's update. Appreciate you guys being here. You're more than welcome to go up with them if you like.
Yeah, give me a massage. Good evening. So thanks for having us again. And I guess I'll just kind of let the cat out of the bag. I'm retiring in March, and Joe Hammond, he's a sergeant if you want to come up here, Joe. He is going to be taking over as the undersheriff effective March 3rd. So when that happens, I'm going to be the guy that comes here and heckles him. So. From the crowd. So, but Joe's going to come over. You're going to be in good hands. So if you have any problems, questions, concerns, I have full confidence in Joe. I know the sheriff does as well. So we'll get his contact information to you guys. So if you guys have anything, he'll be the primary contact. And I don't foresee that changing. So he's going to be here for a handful of years, after I leave. So you're in good hands with Joe. So on to the report. The Bedford, the speed sign data. The Secor Road north of Stearns, so southbound traffic, 91% of all the vehicles were at or under 45 miles an hour. Secor Road south of Stearns, so that's northbound traffic, 93% were at or under 45 miles an hour. And Stearns Road east of Secor Road, which is westbound traffic, 96% of all traveling vehicles were at or under 45 miles an hour. So I think that, again, it's pretty consistent. I think monthly when we present that, I don't really see that number changing. So that's kind of a good thing. We're pretty happy with that. Calls for service into the township. In total, there was 826 calls for service. Business alarms accounted for about 20 of those. We had about 16 residential alarms, and this is just some of the highlights. 22 larcenies, 23 medicals. Now I want to point out that the medicals, that does not represent all the medical calls. The fire chief will probably explain that they have a higher volume. These are just the ones that we go on, which could be just we get dispatched or we're closest car concept. So their figure is going to be, should be a lot higher, I presume. So 44 crashes on the roadways. We conducted 97 property checks, handled 60 different suspicious situations, made 127 traffic stops. I checked again just last week. We're still really in no better position to get our traffic ticket data incorporated yet, and we're still figuring it out with Central Square. So that's the report writing database that we have. So when that'll happen, maybe it'll be after I'm gone. So that'll be Joe's issue. So we have, so those are the calls for service. Written case reports, we had 144 total for the month of November. The great majority of those, 18, were the non-aggravated assaults, simple assaults. That also includes domestic violence. We had 10 larceny from motor vehicles. I'd like to ask the residents to keep your car doors locked, because typically when we have those, typically the suspects will walk around neighborhoods checking on car doors. So if you have anything valuable in your car, I'd ask that you please lock it up. Can they break your window? Sure, but typically it's the unlocked car doors. So keep your car's doors locked. We made 18 arrests. And then finally, I have to self-report. We shorted you on some hours this month. We keep track of this. It's not as easy as it used to be. It was actually built into the old report writing or the stat tracker system that we had. However, I've got the captain looking into this now, but we did short you a total of 72 hours in the contract. So as a result, we are going to credit you on the next invoice. So I'm not sure when that comes out. It should probably be in fourth quarter. So if you could kind of keep an eye out for that. But I already talked to our finance department. They're on board with it. They're okay with it. They're going to credit you. Now here's the excuse. One of them, and you saw it on your report. Our supervisors, I don't want to criticize them because they have to make decisions, on a nightly basis that are not popular at times, and this was particularly one of them. He had to pull a Bedford contract deputy out to guard an inmate. I know that's not your responsibility, but at that point in time, it was early in the month. We were just short-staffed all across the county. Calls for service were kind of busy that day. We've talked about better options in the future, but that did happen, so we do apologize for that. And that is one of those 12-hour shifts that we are crediting you for that. The other reason is one of our deputies is on leave for military. She's going to be gone for a whole month. She is in your contract. We've taken steps to fill that moving forward, so I don't think you're going to see this problem for the rest of the year, and certainly at shift change starting in January. So she accounted for a total of 5 shifts, 12-hour shifts. We didn't have the manpower to backfill. We had a couple resignations that we weren't kind of planning on that kind of come up. They left for other jobs. We had lost a couple people or at least one person in the FTO program that we were kind of counting on. So these are just one of those scheduling snafus that happened to us. We apologize to you all. And like I said, we keep track of that. We think that's a responsible way of responsible partnership. So other than that, if you have any questions, that is the November report.
No, appreciate you being here. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you
Awesome.
Did you guys lose a bet or something?
No.
You had to wear that?
Hey, you can leave now.
I can't say anything. I'm a Spartan fan, so we got our own problems.
It was nice to meet you as well.
All right.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard, Joe.
Michigan fans, so I'm sure we'll all get
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public comment. Comments limited to 5 minutes for board agenda items only. Just state the agenda item you'll be speaking on.
L. Pryor, 1167 North Park. I'll be addressing items on 8, D, and E. I'll take E first. That's in regards to the renewal of the SEMCOG dues. I highly encourage us to do that. I sit on as an alternative on the executive board. SEMCOG is involved in so many things that helps our region. from access to planners that we've used on Lewis Avenue, which they helped us get like $250,000. They were instrumental in helping start and get us a grant in terms of the Cornerstone 100, our planning grant, to get that going. That all started from some SEMCOG meetings that we had where we were working on a bike task committee, and several of us got together and said, hey, we need to do something for Monroe County. So that's happening, which is really good. The thing that I like about them, they are a great resource for statistics. You all can get on their website. We've helped several businesses in terms of statistics and in terms of what the traffic count is at certain intersections, what accidents are, that type of thing. So they're an unbelievable resource for that. But they also work on other things like parks. They work on environmental issues like water, sewers, and so on. To give you an idea, we're very fortunate in terms of our sewer system. Other communities, they're facing millions and millions of dollars in repairs. It's unbelievable in terms of the region. But they get involved in that. They were also instrumental in getting support for the Gordie Howe Bridge. There's probably only very few people probably realize how important that bridge was, is that because the Ambassador Bridge is privately owned. Rick knows that. He's met the guy who owns it. So they controlled it so there was a big push in terms in Lansing and so on to get that bridge. So it's pretty exciting. They're going to be done here in 2024. So it's going to help trade immensely. What they also take a look is our regional economic development. They take a look at the whole region. What type of jobs do we want to produce? What type of industry do we want to bring in? They're always watching the outflow. How many people are moving out of Michigan? How many people are moving in? What's our demographics? So that's all important to us because we want people here, not in some other state. So they also lobby on a federal basis. They also lobby on a state basis. For example, the big one is right now is giving up local control on zoning for alternative energy. That's a real big issue right now. So MTA and SEMCOG are both trying to fight that. So hopefully they'll be successful, but two of the bills have already passed. So the other thing with SEMCOG, which is really good, is they're only a phone call away. You can call them with any question. They'll get you the right person. They'll find you the answer. And that's one thing I really enjoy working with them on certain things, is because they are very knowledgeable. The other thing they do too is they have webinars that you can jump in on a vast array of different topics that relate to communities. The thing is with SEMCOG, they just don't deal with townships. It's cities, villages, and so on. And we're very lucky here in Monroe County because we have a pretty high participation rate with other villages and like the city of Monroe and so on partaking in membership as well. So that's how there's a lot of synergy a lot of times with the Monroe people, that we get to discuss what's going on and so on in our region, which is very helpful. We didn't always have that before, but we do now. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the MTA Monroe County chapter. That's something that you're all invited to as well, trustees, clerks, treasurers. That's like a quarterly meeting. And what they do is they all come together, and we usually get a guest speaker, and that's another chance that we get together and say, hey, what kind of problems are you having? Because sometimes London's problems aren't going to be the same as Bedford, but sometimes Bedford's might be the same as Charter. Mm-hmm. And it gives us that time to say, hey, what are you guys doing? What's happening? You know, that kind of thing. So it's a very small fee in terms for the membership, but I would encourage you all to attend if you can. The meetings are usually at night. So I would encourage this board to vote for both of those because they are very worthwhile, and we do get a lot for our money. So,
Appreciate it.
yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. My question was in regards to 8D. I don't recall us being involved in the Monroe County level. So that was my question. Have we always paid the fees for this? Have we always belonged to it? And what do they offer that's over and above what we get automatically from the state by paying those dues as well? So Mr. Pryor did answer some of those questions as far as he brought up some of those details, but I'm just questioning whether we've ever done this before, if this is new, and if the rest of the board members have attended these little meetings or dinners or whatever that they have to collect this information. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments? He's coming.
You can wear a hat, I can wear a hat.
Right.
Yours is handicapped, but that's okay.
You just want to wear a hat. I don't have to wear a hat.
Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. I rarely agree with Al Pryor, but with respect to SEMCOG, we've been a member for years and years and years, and I encourage you to continue to be a member. One thing that he kind of missed that's really important, and that is that all federal grants are administered by and through SEMCOG. And if you aren't there, you aren't going to get any grants. State grants are also administered by SEMCOG, and that's for transportation improvement programs and other such programs in terms of economic development. So I encourage you to continue our membership.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments from the public? Okay. All right, moving on to 8B, election workers' pay. Ms. Hirschberger?
A.
Oh, AA, voucher for payment, I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General Fund, $46,056.98. Fire District, $11,213.59. Fire Equipment, $9,860.94. Downtown Development Authority, $17,767.15. Library Operating, $4,398.58. Transit System, $90. Stony Brook Brookwood SAD, $301.25. DDA Construction, $40,283.74. Building Department, $1,822.44. Sewer O&M, $1,824.46. Trust and Agency, $1,080 for a grand total of $134,699.13.
Support.
Okay, motion supported, Ms. Janaszek. Any discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Trigger votes aye. Ms. Janaszek?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8B, election workers' pay. Ms. Hirschberger?
So I'm requesting an increase for the pay for my election workers. When we looked into this, our seasonal part-time employees make $16.01 an hour, so I'd like to increase my election inspectors to 16. Currently, they are being paid 12. And then the chairs and the receiving board are currently being paid 15, and I would like to increase them to 19. This is covered in my budget currently. I did budget enough money to cover this increase, and we will be looking for a lot more workers this year than we've ever had before, so I need some incentive to get people to come in and work these they're long days, but short term. We will have 3 elections this year, so I normally run about 100. I'm probably going to be closer to 150, maybe even 200 if I'm lucky.
Questions, comments? Mr. Steiner?
Trudy and I talked about this the other day, and one of the big things, obviously we all know it's hard to find people to work full-time, low-paid jobs. It's even harder to find people to work part-time jobs at low pay. And with this being, maybe 1, 2, 3 days a year, we've got to do something to help her out to make sure that we can continue to have successful elections in Bedford Township. Clerk's Department's always done a really good job with this township and making sure our elections are accurate, and we don't want to see that go backwards, because that could only mean quite a few things for the state and the government level for us to fail. So I'd be in favor of supporting her on that.
Anybody else? Okay, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to pay my chair of the precinct and the receiving board $19 an hour, and election inspectors $16 an hour as presented.
Support.
Motion is supported, Mr. Bruning. Any more discussion? Okay, could you call the roll?
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8C, change employment status of paid on-call firefighter to part-time. Chief?
Good evening. So I will give just a brief backstory on it, and then if anybody has any questions, then you can ask at that point. When we went to 24-hour staffing in the department, anyone that was currently a member of the department was given an option to either go part-time or to stay paid on call. And at that point, it was your option. Paid on call, what that is you were paid a lower hourly rate if you were working shifts. However, if you responded from home, it was a higher rate of pay at that point. Part-time is a higher rate of pay, and that is just the standard rate that you receive anytime you're in the department. Mr. Kopsiak was requesting to move from a paid-on-call firefighter to a part-time firefighter, just due to that different bump in pay rate, essentially. So again, I don't know if anyone has, if you need any more backstory on that, I'd be more than happy to explain that more. I don't know how much that you would need for it. If you do have any other questions with it.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
Mr. Supervisor, if I may, this was vetted through Phil Nance, our labor attorney, and me, and we both support it. But one other thing that the chief had advised us, it's a benefit to the township because Mr. Kopsiak's a paramedic. He's a Toledo firefighter, and he's a paramedic with us, licensed in Michigan, correct, Chief?
Correct.
And he'd be working out of the station, which would give us more prompt and better coverage for paramedic service to our citizens. Isn't that right as well?
Yes, that's correct.
So there's a big benefit to our community for this change. It's just not about the money. It's about providing better service to our residents.
Mm-hmm. Okay, look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to move Joe Kopsiak from paid on call to part-time.
Support. Okay, motion and support of Mr. Bruning. Any more discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thanks, Chief.
Item 8D, collection of dues for the Monroe County chapter of MTA. We kind of heard Mr. Pryor explain why we do it. And so, anybody have any questions or comments?
I'll have a couple comments. I was talking with Trudy and Krista about this, and yeah, it's a low membership amount, but we don't gain anything from it. I mean, we get the SEMCOG, of course, and then MTA through the state, but Monroe County. I mean, you even have to bring your own meal, they say. Mm-hmm. So I don't see any benefit of us belonging to it.
Benefits, just what he said. I mean, you get together with other communities and discuss it with different supervisors, clerks, trustees, treasurers. Anybody's welcome to go. I mean,
But nobody goes.
I didn't even
we
know
do.
it existed.
Yeah.
well, now you do. I've gone for years. And Al's gone for the last, typically it's been the supervisors and the deputies that'll go to these. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to be a member, don't be a member. Ms. Keene, you'll get your chance to talk. You just wait till you public comment. So just don't do that.
Anyway,
Is there a
that's where
plan?
I'm at, Paul.
Yeah.
Is there a plan to bolster services? Like, is there a reason that they've initiated to start collecting dues?
They've always collected them. They just gotten paid. I don't know who decided to put it on the agenda. Trudy.
I received it from them asking.
So we've always
Yeah,
paid
so
this?
We've always just paid it.
It's not a yearly due. The last time we paid it was 2017.
Okay.
It's been paid. I don't know.
We haven't they've never asked.
Oh,
2017 was the last time they asked us to pay dues to belong to it.
And did we pay it then based on request or automatic or?
I don't remember. It was paid.
Okay, because I don't remember this one either, even back then.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never attended, so I didn't know much about it. I do know that the dues were paid in 2017, though.
I mean, I've heard of township supervisors and deputies and things having meetings, but never heard of the actual Monroe County chapter MTA officially formed to do that. I mean, it's not a huge cost, but you know,
I was going to say, it's $50. Is there, you guys find value in it?
Yeah.
Like $50 worth of value out of it? Like if it's not for anybody else, but it's for, if it's the supervisors and they're getting
For
value.
any board member that wants to be involved.
But I guess if it's more valuable to you and your deputy, you could pay it out of your budget and still be a member. None of us are interested. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm just trying to, so it's the Monroe County Chapter MTA, who sits on their board, who's the chair, who's the vice chair, who's invited, is it elected, and who just, did they just magically set this up, and is it, where's the meetings held at, up in Monroe, I'm assuming?
It's in Monroe Hall. Monroe's the Charter Township. Joanne Yules, I think isn't she the president? It can come out of my budget. Doesn't matter if you want to do it that way.
Well, I mean, the board doesn't have to approve that.
Right.
You want to do it, you can do it.
Right. I'll make a motion. We remove this from the agenda, and I'll just pay for it out of my own budget.
I'll support that.
A motion in support of Mr. Bruning. Any discussion?
We can't remove it, but you could make a motion that you would like to pay it, I think, out of your budget.
Yeah, but I don't need a motion for that to be approved.
No, you don't.
So
We don't need a motion at all. We can just
let it
move
die.
on. Yeah.
all right, moving on.
Will you both remove your motion and your
I'll
second?
remove it. I remove support.
Okay.
All right, item 8E, approve SEMCOG annual membership. Anybody have any comments, questions about this membership?
I'll make a motion to approve SEMCOG annual membership as presented.
And I'll support
Okay,
this.
motion in support of Mr. Bruning. Any discussion?
Do we want the dollar amount in there or not needed?
It would be
I
nice.
think you could add it. The dollar amount.
In the amount of $4,495.
Support.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik? Aye. Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Number 9, comments from the public. Comments limited to 2 minutes. You got to beat this guy.
beat
Walk a little
Lamar.
faster. Not hard to do.
My name's Tom Osmick. I live at 6719 Midsummer Drive, and I'd like to make a proposal that a future agenda item is the leaf burning. I think the leaf burning in this township is really in a bad state. The air quality is extremely poor, and we need to look at how we can make it better, because this is not acceptable. I'm sorry, it isn't. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. Has anybody been out? I was out Sunday night a couple weeks ago. It was horrible. Eyes burning, smoke. And the big thing is the demographics have changed in this community over the last 15 years. You have a lot of residential areas. You got a lot of people that are sensitive to smoke. And I think we need to take a hard look at this item. And I'd be willing to help you. I actually do this for a living. And I just think we need to look at other options.
Appreciate it.
Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. About every year I bring this up again. We're now approaching the holiday seasons. Our first responders are on duty. Our police force is on duty. And around the world, members of our military are standing guard. We're going to sit down Thursday and have a nice meal. They're going to be on guard for us. So when you sit down for your meal on Thursday, take a minute and think about the folks who are supporting us day by day by day, giving up their family. Joe remembers being somewhere where Thanksgiving or Christmas, you're by yourself, but you stood your post because you knew it was important. These folks give of their day, they give of their family. Think about them for at least a minute. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments?
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. The 2023 Adopt a Road program is officially done. We collected 561 bags of roadside trash, and the numbers don't lie, so you may be asking, why the decrease? I always talk about my 1,000 bags. I would love to report that it's due to an actual drop in the roadside trash, but it's not. So numbers don't always tell the truth. The full truth is in the fine details. The reality is that one of our main stretches was under construction this summer, so we had no pickup from that area. And we have 8 stretches of roads that do not have a sponsor. So that's kind of why we didn't have as many bags. The current groups know that now's the time to switch a road, and it's a perfect time to get on board with the program. The members of the Adopt a Road program for Bedford Township would like to wish everybody a happy holiday, and please put your trash in your garbage cans. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more comments?
Good evening. I'm Arlene Cross, 6804 West Summer Breeze Drive. According to the DNR, 85% of particles from burning leaf smoke are inhaled deep into the lungs and stay there for years, which may cause adverse physical effects. Taking into account the results of burning leaves such as illness, decreased strength, and a shortened lifespan, it must be realized that these things cannot be measured in money alone. Personally speaking, 16 years ago, we lost our son. Cliff died of lung cancer. He and his wife were non-smokers. He was raised in our home. My husband and I were non-smokers. Upon graduation from Bob Jones University, he worked for Fox Carolina TV station. He covered breaking news as a cameraman on location. Greenville experienced a large amount of arson fires. They speculate that Cliff's lung damage was caused by smoke from those fires. My husband, who is also Cliff, suffers from heart and lung disease. He takes medication and has restrictions. His doctors recommend a daily walk. Often, our neighborhood is so smoky, we can't walk in our neighborhood. Sometimes we go to other neighborhoods. Sometimes we try several times, and we end up going home because the smoke is widespread in our area. Bedford is no longer a farming community. It's a suburb with roughly 32,000 people. There are alternatives to burning: composting, curbside pickup. Put your leaves in a bag and take them for local pickup, or take them to recycling.
Hey, ma'am.
Almost done.
No, I
With
have to
all
end
due
your
respect,
comment,
you are our local government. We trust you to keep our township a healthy, thriving community.
Ma'am, I've got to stop you.
Oh, okay.
You only get 2 minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Any more comments from the public? Hey, all right, moving on to comments from board members. Mr. Steiner.
So I actually had some email correspondence with the various ones speaking tonight about the smoke and the leaf burning. It is a difficult situation, and I also pointed out that we work closely with the fire chief. There's also some state regulations there that we also follow. We can't 100% shut things off, but it doesn't prohibit us from getting together, putting our heads together, and having discussions. Things don't change by themselves. You hear about grassroots efforts, and if it takes a grassroots effort at this level to start conversations, not just with Bedford Township, but surrounding areas, I guarantee we're not the only ones that are being impacted by this. Granted, where we live, there's no leaf burning right in front of us, but it doesn't take much. That wind blows, and then days like today, if somebody was burning before the rain, it just gets that much thicker, and it makes it that much tougher to breathe with. Next thing I wanted to point out is Mr. Pryor brought up the Gordie Howe Bridge. I don't know which way I want to say it. Was either an unpleasant drive or a pleasant drive, sort of both. A couple weeks ago, I was coming home from Detroit, and I got detoured. I ended up down Jefferson, Fort Street, and everything else. So the unpleasant part was I think I lost my car about 5 times in the holes. They were so bad. But the pleasant side of it is amazing. I was shocked to see how much has changed right off of Fort Street and all of the development and construction and infrastructure that's going on. I knew it was going to be big, but until you actually see how big it is really huge. I think it's a golden opportunity to continue to work with SEMCOG and the IDC and groups like that. Granted, the bridge is going to bring a different level of traffic to and from Canada. There's going to be an awful lot of warehouses and businesses and industries setting up down Detroit, down around the bridge, but they can't keep it all. And we look at what they could potentially do down here in Bedford Township. So we want to keep our ears open. Al, like I said, you said, good point there. We can help ourselves down this way and stay in touch with those groups and make sure that if we find something or hear something is potentially available for us, that we could get in on the ground floor with a company that's looking for some space, work with Monroe, the BDC, and SEMCOG. I think there's some golden opportunities, but the bridge is scheduled in 2024 to open, but now is the time. Because they're going to be striking it rich between probably 2024 and 2027 with developing these companies that are going to be moving into the Michigan area. That's all.
Mr. Montre?
Excuse me, yeah. First, I would like to thank the residents for coming out and voicing their issues and concerns and just for being present in our meeting. You should come to ones that you don't have complaints on. I'd also like to thank the undersheriff and the sheriff's department for handling their shorting us of hours so ethically and appropriately, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate Mr. Frederick's remarks concerning Thanksgiving, and I'm going to share a note I wrote about Thanksgiving. The word thank is a transitive verb, meaning that it must have a direct object, to Mr. Frederick's point. Therefore, you give thanks to something or someone. Logical reasoning would suggest that the direct object to which you are giving your gratitude should be the provider of those things for which you are grateful, thankful. James 1, verse 17 says, "Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows." And I would like to remind us in this Thanksgiving season to remember where our blessings come from. That's all I have.
Hey, Mr. Gore?
Just want to congratulate, and we'll probably see Chief Deputy Pauly. He was a tremendous police officer, deputy sheriff, command officer. Done a great job. I've known him for a lot of years, and he's correct. Joe Hammond will fill his shoes and keep the ball rolling. Got a lot of respect for both of them. Lamar, thanks for the comments for Thanksgiving. I remember vividly, Christmas of 1990 and Thanksgiving of 1990 sitting in Saudi Arabia having MREs. So, yep, in Saudi Arabia. I'll have 2 empty seats at my table this year. I have a son that's a police officer that he has to work, and I have another son that actually lives in South Korea and works in South Korea. So we'll have 2 empty seats. So I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and let's not forget those that can't be at our tables this year.
Mr. Bruni? I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a good holiday. Go Blue and go Lions.
Ms. Januzak?
I just want to let everyone know in my office we are currently preparing the 2023 winter tax bills. I know. They will be mailed out December 1st. as a reminder, if you bought or sold your home and the status of your lender has changed, please contact my office and we can make sure that your bill gets to the proper place. I also want to wish everyone a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, Search Partner?
Remind everyone that the Township Hall will be closed this Thursday and Friday to observe Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And if you are looking to run for office, local office packets are available now. The forms have been updated, so we do have them. You can stop in my office and pick them up. If you are going to be a candidate, you must have the forms back to me by April 23rd, 4 p.m. And just happy Thanksgiving.
I don't know if you noticed when Mr. Steiner was talking, I kind of was shaking my head and kind of laughing to myself because a couple years ago, this board decided to take the authority away from the ordinance department, who worked 7 days a week, all day long, and went to illegal burns without being called. And I don't remember what the vote was, but I know it went down. So now our fire department, who already handles 4,000 plus calls a year, is handling illegal burns, which to me is insane. So now you, if you want to put out your neighbor's fire or have a complaint about it, you have to call and be the complainant, which used to be the ordinance department would travel around, and this is the grassroots effort we took. We had a problem, we solved it. We put out 350 plus burns in one season. People will stop burning because they didn't have time to. They were wet. You can't burn them wet. You can't burn them in ditches. You can't burn them in driveways. You can't burn them too close to lot lines. When you take away all the times that you can't burn and all the regulations, there's not much time to burn. And when you have an ordinance guy traveling around 7 days a week, guess what? It went down a lot. So the board voted to take that away. So if you want a grassroots effort, ask Mr. Steiner to put it back on the agenda to give it back to ordinance 7 days a week. And it'll change again. That's why it's the way it is. Because you look for 2-3 years ago, when they had it and they were hammering burns, I got more calls than ever about how thankful people were because there wasn't smoke. And with Mulch King and the options you talked about, there was a lot less burning. So if you want to have a grassroots effort back again, bring back what you guys took away a couple of years ago, and it'll go back to what it was. Lamar, that was great. Loved hearing that. It's so true. You know, so many times you can sit around that table and complain, and you don't think about all those people that are serving and doing, you know, all those special things that we take for granted. And so I appreciate that. Other than that, go blue. Adjourned.